I destroy everyone I love.
Surprise, motherfucker.
When looking back at the original Dexter ending, you probably assume based off the final scene that Dexter in fact survived the hurricane he drove his boat into. But what if I told you that Dexter actually died that day in the storm and everything that was shown after that is in the afterlife? And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining exactly why I think Dexter has been dead ever since the Dexter ending, and that it actually makes a lot of sense. In the original finale of Dexter, which aired on September 22nd, 2013, Dexter Morgan drives his boat into a hurricane in the episode titled Remember the Monsters. This dramatic scene is intended as a final act of self-sacrifice and a means to bring closure to his chaotic life. The context for this decision is complex and involves multiple factors. One, Deborah's condition. Deborah Morgan, Dexter's sister, is left in a vegetative state after being shot. Dexter, feeling immense guilt and believing he is the cause of all the suffering in his loved ones, decides to end her life support and take her body out to sea. 2. Self-sacrifice. Dexter recognizes that his presence endangers those he cares about. By faking his own death, he hopes to protect his son, Harrison, and his girlfriend, Hannah McKay, believing they can have a better life without him. 3. Symbolism. The storm symbolizes the chaos and destruction Dexter's life has wrought. Driving into it represents him confronting and succumbing to the turbulent forces he has unleashed. Ultimately, the show presents us with Dexter surviving and is seen living in a solitary, bleak existence as a lumberjack in Oregon in the series' final moment. But I think what we see is in fact far from Dexter being alive and in fact some sort of purgatory. In an article made by Nathan Gibson, he describes the fact that a popular fan theory is that the lumberjack elements at the end of the season finale of Dexter are not actually real. The serial killer actually died when sailing into the hurricane, according to the theorists, and everything that occurs afterwards is his persona purgatory. I find that this theory is something that saves the quote-unquote god-awful ending presented in the Dexter season 8 finale. Not only that, but the realism of him surviving a hurricane like that with all the debris we see from it is very far from being a real ending to this character's fate. And after everything that happened to him, why would he even consider wanting to live and have a second chance when he knows all that awaits him is the pain and suffering of his loved ones and the people he surrounds himself with? In an interview by Angie Han, she asked the man himself, Michael C. Hall, what he thought of this theory fans have believed to be true. I'm reluctant to answer that definitively because I don't think your interpretation is necessarily invalid. It's subjective. Though I found that his way of answering perfectly sums up what theories like these are, and it's that it shouldn't be taken with 100% canonical truth, and nor bash what other people may think regarding the situation. But it's something watchers of this amazing show can imagine for themselves and make it so it's more of an interesting conclusion. This theory can even further be proven from a post made by Rapture. The writers/story had planned for Dexter to die, however the network wouldn't allow for this to happen as they were considering a spin-off at some point in the future. Also, unfortunately, the show did back-to-back seasons for the first time, so the entire season was rushed and behind schedule. Think back to the Harrison treadmill scene. In my opinion, not including the ending, that the outline/storyline for season 8 was great, but it needed the usual season in between to clean up/iron out. Showtime is a dreadful network to do a show on. Because final seasons almost unanimously need more shooting time than earlier seasons, and they don't want to tarnish a show's legacy, it also has the potential to lose you a lot of money, which is an elaborate breakdown, but not Dexter. This shows us that the writers initially planned to have Dexter die, and this adds on more to this theory of him actually dying, and that the lumberjack scene being a sort of way to show where Dexter's spirit is in purgatory. Now I know what you have been thinking probably this whole video. What about Dexter New Blood? Well, this is where the theory of him actually dying is really contradicted. With New Blood coming out recently, it shows us that this ending was in fact a valid representation of him being alive. But with a lot of people not returning for New Blood, I feel like it adds an extra bit of complexity and makes fans stay up at night thinking about how Dexter is actually dead, which makes more sense to have as canon by the end with their decisions of adding the lumberjack scene. And going back to what Michael C. Hall mentioned, he says that though I don't think the writers imagined that Dexter was dead, to be honest. This unfortunately tells us that the writers might have revoked their initial thought of killing off Dexter, which makes it hard to prove this theory as 100% true.
I'm him, the butcher.
Truthful or not, I think that this theory is something that should ponder in fans' minds to help them conclude Dexter's fate in their own imaginative way. Personally, although I did in fact watch New Blood, I feel like the possibility of maybe in another world they didn't go through with a spin-off, and this is something that makes more sense for fans to think, trying to see the good side to the bad ending lots of fans have preached throughout the years. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you believe that this ending to Dexter's character respects what the show has done? Or do you have reason to think that this theory should be forgotten and seen as foolish? Leave a comment down below and like the video if you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.